Good morning. Time to make the coffee. Well, today's temperature is going to be 68 degrees. That's nice. No rain today, but we are supposed to get rain tomorrow, so that'll be a good thing because I haven't watered the garden in a long time. I'm letting it wind down and do what it needs to do. So, in a couple days, I'll be going out there and just harvesting whatever's still left and call it good. So I do plan on starting a small indoor garden. I've done that before. I do have some Arrow Garden knockoffs that I've had, and I plan on growing some perpetual spinach, which is actually a chard, some lettuces, and maybe some cherry tomatoes. I'm not sure on the tomatoes, but there are small varieties of tomatoes that you can grow inside in a arrow garden or something of that sort. So that's my plan for the winter months, but actually lettuce can still grow fairly long into the season. It's a little bit frost hardy, along with the kale, and spinach likes cooler weather. But I think instead of planting spinach from now on, I'm just going to plant the perpetual spinach because you get the same taste as spinach, but it's not as sensitive to the weather as spinach is. So I'm going to give that a try and see how that works. To me, gardening is always an experiment. Every year, something different. And even if you don't have a backyard, you can do the indoor gardening, as long as you have some grow lights. And most of the things that I bought for my indoor garden were not super expensive. I know Amazon has a lot of things they run specials on, and I don't have an actual arrow garden, but I have a couple of small Ambiano gardens that I got at Aldi's a few years back, and then I also have some knockoff arrow garden type things. They don't have the computerized tracking like the arrow garden does, but arrow gardens are pretty expensive. So that's my plan for the winter. I'm not going to go crazy and plant a bunch of stuff in the house anymore. I'm going to do the little indoor gardens, and then I'm going to a little later, early or late winter, early spring, I'm going to do the seed starting in the plastic bags again for the winter sowing. And I'm cutting back on that this year. I know what did well and I know what didn't do so well. So it's fun, you know, it's as long as it doesn't become overwhelming, which at the end of this year it did sort of become a bit overwhelming. It's the watering that gets to me in the late summer. So I need to figure out a plan to make that easier next year. And I do have little sprinkler systems that I've had in the garage forever, several years, that I never put in. So I'm going to have to make the effort this spring to do that because I won't be moving my garden boxes around like I did at the beginning of the growing season this year. So let's give the coffee a taste. Cheers. Oh, that could use a little bit more creamer. Not much. Sometimes just a touch more is what it takes to get it just right. So, yesterday I did not end up going out in the garden. I should have, but I didn't. There we go with that should have list again. But I ended up giving myself a haircut because my hair was starting to really annoy me. And since I do almost everything myself as far as beauty, nail polish, manicures, pedicures, hair cutting, I did that instead. Not that that took all day, but I had a few other things that I did in the house. So maybe today I'll get out there again and start pulling some more things out. But I do plan on keeping the flowers that are still nice. I'm going to keep those a while longer. And we should be coming into a rainier season now that October's almost here. So, all right, I am going to go enjoy my coffee, and I will meet you at the budget book. All right, back at the budget book. So yesterday I didn't spend any money. I stayed home, and I did what I needed to do here. You know, tracking your budget and decluttering to me they go hand in hand. With tracking your budget, it's decluttering your financial life. It's making sense of what you spend it on, and what you don't spend. So keeping track of that, and it doesn't have to be complicated. I don't sit here every day calculating things, and I don't do that. I just do a very simple yes or no. I spent money, I didn't spend money. And I keep my receipts for the month. That way, if I want to look back and see, oh, what did I spend money on that day, then I can go back and look. But I don't write everything out. I used to, but I don't do that anymore. I found it to be too complicated. So this is very simple. I can do it every day. It takes me, as long as it takes to do this video, that's how long it takes me to do my budget book. As the bills come in, I do track those because I want to see how much money is going out and how much money is coming in, because those bills are not flexible. Now for me, the most flexibility that I have in my budget is food. And of course incidentals. Now if I go out on a binge and buy a ton of clothes and stuff like that, that I have control over. But the same way with food, in between doing some shopping, the pantry, if you need the food bank, use that. But nowadays, where they're just taking our money and sending it off to places that God knows where, they waste so much money. I figure, if you need help, then get it. So not everybody might agree with that, but that's okay. You can do your own thing and I'll do mine. So, but I think it's important to at least keep a handle on what you do spend. And my budget book helps me do that. Then I can see, oh, I spent a little bit too much on this, or I spent a little bit too much on that, and it helps me stretch my money as much as I can. Now, I am trying to pay off some debt. I still have some car payments that I need to finish paying off, and no, I will not sell my car and go get a jalopy, because what I owe on my car is what it would cost me to buy a jalopy. So I won't be doing that, and I'm not getting rid of my house because I don't need to do that once I get all my debt paid off, which is the car and a small loan. Well, it wasn't small when I got it, but it's small now. It's like $2,500. Once I get those two things paid off, I will have a little bit more wiggle room. But I still don't plan on spending more on food than what I do now, because it's not necessary for me. But it took me a while to learn that. I used to spend way too much money on food, and that's why I have an excess of it now. But that's a good thing. It's good that I have too much food coming in the house at the moment. Not too much. Let me back up. It's not too much. It's enough to sustain me for a while, if need be. So, but anyway, that's where I can save money, is on food. That's the only place, at least for now. Once I get my debt paid off and I can live debt-free, okay, now let me put a little memo in here that doesn't include paying off the roof, but that'll still be less payments than the 2 payments that I have together for the car and the loan. So pretty much everything else is paid off. I do still have a couple payments on the chair that I had to get in the recliner because I needed a motorized one. Once I had my neck problems, I could hardly recline in the other one because it took such an effort to push it back. So I spent a couple $100 on a motorized chair, and I'm very glad I did. So I actually needed that. It wasn't just I wanted that. I did need that. So anyway, and as far as the decluttering goes, as I declutter, it makes me much more mindful of things that I really don't need. And I pretty much have everything that I need at this point in time. You know, I don't need new furniture. I don't need new clothes. I may want those things, but I don't need them. So I'm just going to make do with what I have. So anyway, I have a week left now in the month, and I am going to Costco one day this coming up week because I need dog food. But that should be it, hopefully, for the end of the month. And all I spent money on so far is food. So that's how I've been managing to pay off my debt and stay on track. And yeah, it's hard. It's hard to live within your means, but that's my objective. Especially once I get everything paid, because everything keeps going up. You know, your money is not going to where you actually want it to go. It's going where it has to go. We all need some heat. We all need a roof over our head. And I think as long as you're debt-free, a lot of us can still afford to stay in our houses, to continue to drive the cars that we have. Now, I'm not one that goes out and buys a new car every 3 years. The last car I had, I drove for 14 years. And then I bought this one in 2019, and it only has 20-some thousand miles on it. So I'd be very foolish to get rid of it, even though the payments are, up there. So I'll just struggle for longer till I get the car paid off, and that's that. So anyway, all right, well, I'm going to finish my coffee, and I hope you guys are doing okay financially, or at least making do, or that you'll be able to stay in your house and maintain some semblance of a life that you used to have. Now, that's not always possible. You know, if you lose your job or if you just can't stretch the money far enough, you may have to move, or you may have to, take public transport. But I think maintaining our lifestyle as much as we can is important these days, just for our mental health. So, okay, that's my opinion. If you have a different opinion, you're entitled to it. And I'll be back in a little bit. Okay, good morning. Cheers. So, I've gotten a lot of new subscribers this past month, which I'm very grateful for. Thank you so much for subscribing to my channel and this wonderful community. There are so many nice people in this community. Every once in a while you get one that's a little judgmental, if you get my drift, but hey, you know, everybody's entitled to their opinion. So this morning I wanted to, I did a little bit of research, and I wanted to talk about low income and poverty and where you fall in that spectrum. So I don't live, thank God, at poverty level. Let me put that out there right from the beginning. I do live within a low income. Now here's some of the figures that I found as far as what's considered what. So, okay, let's start off with the poverty line. From my research, now I live in Ohio, so it may be different in your state. You'd have to do your own research. But the poverty line is considered to be $12,880 to $14,580, depending on where you look for the information. I do not live on that amount of money, and I don't know how people can do it. And, you know, my heart goes out to you if you fall in that category. I highly suggest that you get some help from whatever state aid programs are available to you. A lot of you have paid into the system your whole life, and you know, if you're retired and that's the amount you get, you know, just go ahead and get the aid that you need, please. I think it's 211, I think. If I'm wrong, somebody correct me down in the comments below, that you can call if you need food assistance. So please go ahead and do that. And now when I was younger and I worked, I did save for retirement. So I don't just rely on Social Security. But so I have other income that comes in, but it's still at the low income level. So let me go over a couple of these other figures. Okay, now the average Social Security is $1,300. That's average. Now I know some people get more, some people get less, but that's what I found to be the average. Now from that Social Security, depending on what health care providers you have, 4,934 of that money a year goes to pay for your health care. So, and that's Part B, Part D, whatever you have, which is Part B pays for your physician's visits, your labs, those sorts of things. Regular Medicare only pays for things that go on in a hospital. So hospital stays, things that you have done in the hospital are covered under Medicare. But if you go out and go to a doctor's visit or something like that, regular Medicare doesn't pay that. So I also have a supplemental, which is not cheap. And I know there's programs out there that are free, but you still have a high copay. I don't have a copay, but with some of the other programs you do. You have a copay, plus you have to pay for part of your medications, your doctor's visits, all that. So, you know, nobody really gets a free ride when it comes to health care. So if you're at the poverty level and you're not retired, apply for Medicaid. If you're qualify for that, go ahead and apply for Medicaid. That might help you out. So A very low income is considered $30,250. Extremely low income is this is for one person, is 18,150. So I also looked, and for one person, low income is 48,350. So extreme low income is 18,150. For one person, it's 48,350. Those are both considered low income. Now seniors, low income, for some reason they think seniors don't qualify with the rest of us. Low income is considered $39,200. So anyway, those are some of the figures that I found, and if you do a Google search, you can search your own state and see what their levels are for poverty and low income. Well, I live on a low income. I don't bring in 39,000 some dollars. You know, I mean, it's a personal thing that I don't really want to share with everybody, but I live quite a bit below that. My income is quite a bit below that. I will say it hovers around the $30,000 level, and it's usually less than that. So paying off debt, which I foolishly, I'd be the first one to admit that, which I foolishly did. Credit card debt, you know, it was fun buying things, and then it got to be not so much fun. So, but I have seen the error of my ways, and I'm working very hard to live within my means. Am I living within my means? Yes, as much as I can. A big chunk of my income does go to paying off my debt, and I do that by choice because I want to get it done and paid for. So the problem comes in, you know, you might be doing okay on that level of income, but the problem comes in with it's difficult to save money. I mean, I'm retired. I don't need to save for retirement anymore, but I do need to save for other things. So once my debt is paid, which is my car and that loan that I'm still paying on, then potentially I can start a fund for emergencies. But in the meantime, I've got the roof coming due, I've got a front window that I can't even see out of, it's that bad, and I wasn't going to replace that, but I did save up the money for that, thank God. And it just needed to be done. You know, our homeowners association, they walk around with their little pencils, and it's like, oh, you have this going on and you have that going on, and then they send you a nasty gram of you need to fix that. So, and you know, people say, well, why don't you move out of there? Well, I don't want to. I like this community, and other than a little few things that I don't like, I don't want to move. So once I get my debt paid, I'll be able to afford better to live here. So I'm not selling my house. I mean, for me, that would be really dumb because I would end up probably getting way less than what I have now. And, you know, I'd have to rent or something like that. And I don't want to do that. I think rent is even more expensive than what it costs me to live here. Now, I did have the foresight to pay off my house before I retired, but I still have taxes. Those are $360 a month. I have my HOA fees. Those are $140 a month. Plus, there's another association fee that we get every 3 months. That's $120. plus I have my homeowner's insurance, so it costs me quite a bit to still live here. It would probably be as much as, or I don't know, it's hard to say, as if I went and rented somewhere where everything is included, the utilities and stuff, but a lot of places don't include the utilities. You still have to pay some for those. So for me, it would be not a good move financially, for me physically to move. So, and yes, I could rent out a room, I could get a roommate, but I'm kind of a loner. I've always been that way. I value my privacy, and to have a stranger living in my house would not work for me. So I'll be okay once I get my debt paid off, and I'm hoping to have that all paid off within a year and a half. Fingers crossed. But I just wanted to clarify where I am on the spectrum as far as income level. Now, I know some of you live on way less, some of you live on more, and we each have our place where we fall. But those are the numbers I was just curious to see. And so, if I need to go to the food bank, I qualify. I'm going to go to the food bank, and I'm not going to let people shame me, and I'm not going to make apologies for it. If you need it, you need it. So, and the reason why I like to go sometimes is because if I ask for vegetarian or vegan things, it's a small box, it's not a huge, big thing of food. If I ask for that, a lot of times, now I've only been 3 times, they'll give me some of the vegan meats, which I know some of you are like, oh, I wouldn't eat that, but I actually like them. Those are like for 4 sausages, it's $7.99 if you buy it, and more. Some places they're $10.99, depending on which store you go to. So I've gotten some of those things in the food box. And I was also doing a little research about food banks and food pantries here in Ohio. And it said that Ohio actually has an overabundance of food. And what happens is if they aren't able to distribute it, they'll lose their funding, for one thing. Not only that, but it gets thrown in the garbage. And a lot of the food that they give out at the food banks are very close to or just a little bit past the expiration date, which a lot of people would say, oh, I wouldn't eat that. I'm okay with it. Usually what I do is, I'll freeze it right away for future me. But yeah, don't let people judge you because you go to the food bank, and then even people that think, oh, you're rolling in the money because you have a nice house and you drive a nice car. No, you can't judge a book by its cover. So, yeah, those people, just forget about it. They're negative Nellies, and consider the source, let me put it that way. So, give me a minute. Let me see what else I want to talk about. All right, so I've always been one to DIY everything. I find cheaper alternatives. If there's something I want, I wait until I find that thing either used or cheaper on sale somewhere. I very rarely pay top price for anything. Not that I never do, but I've always done that with clothes, with appliances. I usually buy open box items, which are much cheaper than if you buy it, And a lot of the open box things are actually things that they're not really used. They're things that people have returned, and they just don't want to restock them. They send them to their warehouse, and then they sell them as used, when they're really new, but I've bought a lot of things that way at a very discounted price. My refrigerator, my old washer and dryer. Now the new one I did buy it on sale, but I did have to pay for that. It wasn't an open box. They didn't have anything available. My microwave was open box. My previous microwave was also an open box item. Just a lot of things that I buy. All my little city picker boxes that are on the stands, those were from Amazon. Those were used, brand new in the box. The box was a little dented and there was nothing wrong with them. So those are the things that I look for when I buy things. Clothes, I've always bought clothes like places like Walmart or, mostly Walmart. I don't shop at high-end stores. I never have. So I've always, in that regard, been frugal with money. It's just that I bought too much, things I really didn't need. So even with my the sofa that I bought, because my old one had holes in it from the dogs, I only paid like $150 for it at a discount furniture place. So I've always been frugal with money in that regard, but I was a spendthrift. That's why I have to pay off this loan, and it was way more than what it is now. So I've been paying on it probably for maybe four years, something. I don't know. But anyway, and then I've always DIY'd things. If my house needed to be painted on the inside, I usually painted it, or I found someone that I knew that gave me a good price. But I'm finding as I get older, my DIY abilities have gone way down, like in the toilet, because I have fibromyalgia, I have arthritis in the spine, which includes my neck, and when those two things act up together, I'm not good for anything. So I can't do the physical work anymore that I used to. So, every once in a while you get somebody on that comments, oh, I do this and this and this, and it's like, well, good for you. I used to be able to do that too, but that's another thing. Don't feel ashamed because somebody comes and shames you that you should be doing this and you should be doing that. No, that's just not right. So as we get older, our ability to do things like that get less and less. So I have to pay people to come in and do what it is I need done in my house. So in this past year, I've had to buy a washer. That's paid for now. I bought that on Same as Cash. I had to buy a new hot water tank. Now, fortunately, my grandson's dad is a plumber, so he gave me a good deal on that. What else have I had to replace? Oh, there's a bunch of things. There's the things I have coming up. I have the roof coming up. I have the window that will be paid for. The roof I'll have to finance. What else? I needed a new garbage disposal. Again, my grandson's dad did that. My son gave me a new microwave. This one I bought as an open box item on Amazon, so I'm not even using the other one. The above the stove one just doesn't work anymore. So my son gave me an older microwave that he has, but I have to pay to have that installed. I had to take down 3 trees because they were too close to the house, and one of them kept, the big huge branches kept breaking off of it. So that was $1,200. So it's just been one thing after another, and no, I'm not whining, I'm just putting it out there for others of you that feel like you're in the same boat. So, anyway, I'm sure there's things I'm missing, but it gets really difficult when you can't do things yourself anymore. When you start needing help with your gardening, or you start needing help with your housekeeping, or you start needing help to maintain your home. As you get older, that's kind of what happens. So anyway, I just wanted to talk a little bit about that for some of you newer subscribers that don't quite know where I'm coming from. I wanted to talk a little bit about it, and so that you get to know me. And my main thing for sharing all this with people and putting it out there is to let you know that you're not alone. You can make it. Adjustments need to be made no matter what. Stay away from people that are negative about it and that, you know, for whatever reason need to put in their 2 cents that aren't very nice. So, yeah, that's it. So, all right, my friends, I want to wish you abundant blessings. I love you guys. Be good to yourself. Be good to others. God bless you, and I'll see you next time. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe, comment, and like. It helps my channel grow. Thanks for watching.